Oh, hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction for Manchester United's game. Crucial game against West Ham. It's fast fire now. We've just had that result against AC Milan, as we know, but we have to move on very quickly because we have got another game against West Ham. And can I just say, West Ham are the team who are 6 points off us. I think they are in 5th. And they're 6 points off us. So if you win this game, you make that gap 9 points to 5th. And I know there's other teams buzzing around, but if you lose it, that gap to your second, 5th place is 3 points behind you. So absolutely huge game. Some big updates from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's this frustration about Edison Cavani that's come out in the press this morning as well. We'll talk about that. De Gea is back in Manchester, which I think is a positive. I don't think he will play on Sunday because he hasn't been training, but Ole did say he was touch and go about that. We'll talk about that. And also, somebody did ask about injuries in relation to Pogba and Van der Beek, which we can give you as well. So quite a few things to talk about there. So let's get on with it. So first of all, let's talk about the injuries then, because I think that's the key thing going into this game. And no Pogba, no Van der Beek, no Mata for Sunday, which again is just a massive disappointment. Now, Ole did say that he hopes that some of those players will be back before the international break. The international break is basically a week away. If these players are not ready for West Ham, what's gone on? In the case of Donny Van der Beek, I just don't know. I mean, we're getting on for 3 weeks, I think, with Donny Van der Beek now. Maybe even coming up for a month soon. So why were we not told this? The injury came out of nowhere, and we were basically told, oh, it's a little thing. And then he was on the bench against Chelsea, and then he's missed 2 weeks after that. I mean, what has happened to Donny Van der Beek? Why can Man United not just let it be known? There is not really an advantage to keeping injuries quiet. It just frustrates the fans, and we don't, you don't want frustration around the team at the moment. You want positivity around the team. So I don't know what's gone on with Donny Van der Beek, but he is not involved on Sunday. Paul Pogba, again, we were told Pogba could be back for the Manchester derby. Nowhere near apparently, but then might be back for the international break. But then Ole says if they're not back, they'll be back after the international break. Well, that's 3 weeks away. Are they going to be on international duty? Will Donny Van der Beek be with the Dutch squad? Will Paul Pogba be with the French squad? That's ridiculous if they are and they're not back for United. So, look, they're not going to be back for the West Ham game. I think that's a real blow. As we know, we didn't get any update on Rashford or Cavani or Martial. He didn't give anything on those three, so we don't know about them. We could do with a couple of those being fit for Sunday. I mean, we know we're going to be limited by our midfield, but basically just tell them to get the ball and give it to Bruno or give it to Luke Shaw and move up the pitch down the flanks. We can't move up the pitch through the midfield, so just tell them to run around a bit and then go down the flanks. Use Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw, I think. But no Pogba, and I think that will be a problem. But if you're asking me, and I would ask you this question straight out, would you rather have players back for Sunday or players back for Thursday? And I think that's the big question, is it? Do you want players back for West Ham at home, or do you want players back for AC Milan away? And for me, I think I probably want them back for AC Milan away because it's a little bit longer for them to get over whatever injury problem there are. And look, we should be able to get a result against West Ham at the weekend. I mean, this is not the preview, but we should be able to get a result against West Ham at the weekend. Ole spoke about playing West Ham and said they're doing fantastically well. He spoke about Lingard, which I'll mention in a minute, but he spoke about how West Ham are doing really well at the moment, and he mentioned the FA Cup game. We shouldn't forget that FA Cup game. It was a crap game until extra time where we got the goal and obviously we went through, but West Ham didn't really go for it, and I've seen them play a few times against the big teams this season, West Ham, and they don't really go for it. So if they come to Old Trafford and they don't go for it, I think we can get a draw out of this game, and ultimately a draw might not be a terrible result considering how we're playing at the moment and the injuries we've got. Many injuries are really on a smokescreen for player manager not wanting to play for whatever reason, says Varun Chanda. Well, there could be something. There could be something behind that. But he did speak about Jesse Lingard, and I just want to applaud Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on this because he spoke about Jesse Lingard and he said that the deal has worked really well for Jesse, really well for David Moyes, and it's worked really well for Manchester United. And he said Jesse Lingard needed game time. Jesse Lingard is a number 10. Bruno Fernandes is our number 10. So it works for him to go and play football. And I just want to say, look, nothing is ever... there's always two sides to a story, is what I say. And there is always two. There's sometimes 4 or 5 sides to a story. And in a week, away from football and in football, with so many things going on, the one thing that I always keep constant on is that I'm not going to take that side of the story. I'm always going to try and find the other bit because there's more evidence to this. And a lot of people say, well, Jesse Lingard, we were stupid to loan him out. But actually, what would Lingard offer us right now? Nothing. Because Bruno Fernandes is not injured. You could put him on the wing. You could ask him to be a number 9. You can't put him in the midfield. You can't put him as a holding midfielder or a box-to-box midfielder. He's not really a winger. So I think Ollie, for all the criticism he gets, and look, I think he does get some things wrong, even though I do say, give him till May, let's see what happens. But I think on Jesse Lingard, I would applaud everybody. West Ham, Jesse Lingard and Manchester United. It was exactly the right deal to do. And just because he's in a contender for Player of the Month doesn't mean he would be doing that at Manchester United. Is Donny van der Beek not the prime example of this? A player that Ollie thinks is a number 10, that he can't find game time because he plays Bruno all the time. So where was Jesse going to get this game time from? And this is why I'm over the moon for Lingard and what he's doing, but we've got to sell him in the summer. He is never going to be as valuable as he is now. If we bring him back and keep him at the club, we will never get money for him again because he's going to be 29, 30. So he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's played fantastically well at West Ham. He clearly is a number 10. We don't need him. We don't need him unless he wants to sit on the bench and never play. Sell him. Let him go. Just because a player's doing well on loan doesn't mean we need to bring him back to Manchester United. So I applaud Ollie on that. I think he explained it perfectly. Jesse's a number 10. We haven't got room for him. I'm really pleased for him. And I think that's where we all should be. Ollie's at the wheel. We're second in the league. He gets too much sticks as the gamer. Thank you very much for that. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching. We're talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference reaction here. Let's talk about David De Gea. Now, this is a shock because this morning we were talking about David De Gea not being back for this game and not being back till after the international break. So I don't know where that story came from because I was listening to the press conference, which Ollie's just done, and they asked him about De Gea and I was like, this must be where the story's going to come from. He's going to say that he's not back till after the international break. Well, that's not the truth. David De Gea is back in Manchester. He's back in Manchester quarantining at the moment. So he's not been training with the team. He's been back in Manchester since Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the two. And Ollie said that it's touch and go whether he can play on Sunday. I don't think he will play on Sunday because he hasn't trained. But having said that, as a goalkeeper, they've played with David De Gea so many times. But the interesting thing is, if Solskjaer doesn't play David De Gea against West Ham, he will have to play him in one of the cup games against in either Milan or Leicester. So there's no point David De Gea being back if we're not going to use him before the international break. So what I'm trying to say is David has always played the league games. Henderson has been playing the cup games. So that might have to change around if Dean Henderson plays on Sunday because David's not quite match fit because he hasn't been training. But then again, I think he will be back. And I think, you know what? I think it's a massive positive that David De Gea is back as well. I really do. I think that the fact that David De Gea is back at Manchester United is a real positive because and not because of the mistake that Dean Henderson made, but because we need a little bit of experience in that team at the moment. We need a little bit of something, a bit of leadership. And people don't think David De Gea is a leader or is experienced. I don't know whether, again, this comes down to him not being English because he doesn't shout in, come on, lads, come on, Rashi. He has been at this club for a very long time. He's won a Premier League here. He's won Player of the Year here numerous times. He is a very good goalkeeper and he's a very experienced goalkeeper. So I think at the moment we do need him. I know Dean Henderson's got a great future, but at the moment having De Gea back I think makes us stronger. Whether he plays or not, I just think it makes us stronger having that back. And look, as I said, Dean Henderson looks to the bench and he sees Grant and Bishop. He probably thinks he's watching an episode of Neighbours. Like, if he sees David De Gea there, it makes everybody better. Can I just say as well, this is really important. You might not have considered this. I saw on Sky or BT or something the other day, De Gea shouts all the time at his defence as Ewan Black. I've noticed that as well, Ewan, but people want to pretend that he doesn't. And peeps who think McFred is fine, just Liverpool with Fabinho back at the CDM in the next days, even with crap defenders, they will climb back. CDM is a must, says Thierry. You need one good CDM, I agree. But this is interesting. I saw it on BT last night, or maybe it was Sky the other day. And they were saying that Dean Henderson started 15 games or been involved in 15 games and he's kept 9 clean sheets. And everyone's going, oh my God, he's got to play more games. But anyone with a brain goes, well, a lot of those games have been Carabao Cup, FA Cup, early rounds of the Europa League against against not very good sides. Maybe that's true. Maybe that is true. But what really is evidence here is, forget the goalkeeper thing for a minute, because I'm not going down the goalkeeper line. I only said it this morning, I'm not going down the goalkeeper line. I don't care about Henderson or De Gea. I think it's negative for the club. But it led me into something that I am very interested in. correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the 80% of games that Dean Henderson has played, around that, 70 to 80% of the games that he's played, Eric Bailly has played at centre-back. So forget the goalkeeper thing for a minute. If De Gea plays most of his games with Maguire and Lindelof, and Dean Henderson plays most of his games with Bailly and Maguire, and Dean Henderson's getting more clean sheets, is that not a massive hint as to what you and I and many other people have been saying for a long time? We are a better defensive unit when we play with Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire than we are when we play Magaluf. And I think that's the really interesting thing. Of course, you've still got to throw in that a lot of these oppositions, they're Fulhams, they're not Fulhams, actually, they're Watfords, they're the Europa League games, they're Carabao Cup games, of course. But funnily enough, most of Dean Henderson's clean sheets have been when Eric Bailly plays. And I think that's more impactful. I think we're just a better defence when we play with Eric Bailly. And I think we saw it last night. So, I think that realistically, that's the more interesting stats. I don't think the goalkeeping situation is about... I think if you had Ramsdale and Henderson in goal at Sheffield United and Dean Henderson had 10 clean sheets and Ramsdale had 2, I'd think that's about goalkeeping because Sheffield United have a lot of shots against them. But at Manchester United, we don't really have many shots against our goalkeeper, as we saw last night. It was one mistake and it's a goal. And we've seen that with De Gea a few times as well, to be fair. But I actually think clean sheets are more about your back four. A goalkeeper... I mean, I don't think Dean Henderson could have saved that shot from Kessie last night. So that's a goal, isn't it? But that's bad marking that's caused the goal, not the goalkeeper. So I think it's a massive thing. I think that, forget about the clean sheets Dean Henderson's got or David De Gea's got. Have a look at what the defence is in front of them. Most of the time, Dean Henderson plays with Bailly and Maguire, and most of the time, De Gea plays with Maguire and Lindelof. Well, I'll tell you what, if I'm the goalkeeper, I want to play with Bailly and Maguire because we don't concede many goals when they play. De Gea and Bailly record pulls up trees then. I don't know what you mean, Robert McCormack. I don't know what you mean. I don't think De Gea and Bailly have played that together that much this season, Robert. I don't think they have. That's the honest answer on that one. But I haven't looked at that in depth. What I'm telling you is Dean Henderson and Eric Bailly played together quite a lot. Why won't Bruno sign a new contract? That's irrelevant, Mark. Let's talk about Cavani. So this Cavani story has come out this morning. There's a few more bits from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. He spoke about the defensive line, Amad Diallo, and West Ham as well as Eric Bailly's contract. But I just want to bring in about Edison Cavani. Akshat says, what about the 6-1 game? You're an idiot, Akshat. What's that? Did you watch that game? Did you see how many defensive errors Harry Maguire made? Did you see that we played with 10 men for most of the game? I don't think that was anything to do with the goalkeeper. I think that's a prime example of Maguire at his worst and being down to 10 men. But we talk about Cavani. So there's this story come out that Manchester United are frustrated with Cavani and that they are dubious as to whether they want to renew his contract because that he's actually been cleared. Well, the story is that he's been cleared to play by Manchester United's medical team but chosen not to play because of his injury. Now, you never want that. You never want the Man United, or you never want your fitness department to say they're fit to play and then the player to be saying, no, I'm not. That is a no. As a manager of any football club, that is a no. If your medical team is saying he's fit enough to play, and then the player's saying, I don't feel fit enough to play, that you don't want that. Because as we saw with Luke Shaw on Sunday morning, he wasn't really fit to play. Martial wasn't really fit to play. Both of them contenders for man of the match against Man City. Both of them could easily have gone, I'm not ready to play, but both want to play. I'm not saying that's happened with Cavani, but you don't want that conflict as a manager, because if your medical team says he's fit to play and the player's saying I'm not, it's just human nature that you're going to be, all right, you're not going to run through brick walls to play for me. In defence of Cavani, he's had a lot of injuries over the last 2 years, and if you're not feeling quite right, why would you want to play? So there is a defence there. But I think the overarching thing is, it's not about whether Cavani should be playing or not playing. It goes back to what I was talking about when we signed him. I got pelters. I got absolute pelters. Probably because I used a bad example of saying I'd rather have Josh King than Cavani, which, by my own admission, was petulant stupidity. But my point about Cavani was I always felt it was a desperate signing. Nobody else went for him. I don't know why, because he's a very good player, but nobody else went for Cavani. Over 3 months, he was a free agent. Nobody went for him, including us. We didn't go for him until the very last minute when our transfer window was on its knees and we were desperate. And literally 48 hours before the transfer window slammed shut, we went and spent money on him and gave him the number 7 shirt. It was a desperation signing. And in some ways it's paid off because he's been a valuable member of the squad this season. But you cannot ignore his injury record. Anybody can go on transfermarket.com and search an injury history. It takes 5 seconds, Ed. Check it out. It says over the last 18 months before we bought him, numerous muscle injuries. And in the 6 months we've had him, numerous muscle injuries. This should have been looked at by the club. I've got no sympathy with them on it. I actually sympathise with Cavani because he is quite injury prone these days and probably wants to be playing in the Copa America in the summer and the World Cup next year, wants to elongate his career whilst also knowing he's quite injury prone. Manchester United messed up on the Cavani deal. They can't expect to buy... I think even some fans thought we were getting prime Cavani. I knew we were getting 33-year-old Cavani who's got an injury record. And I was always suspect about how fit he was going to be. He's not been fit for any games against Man City and they've been played across 3 months. And that's because he's been injured 3 times. I think he was actually suspended for one of them. But I wouldn't give Cavani a new contract. I said this on the show on Sunday night with Beth and Ricky and Kev. I said I wouldn't give him a new contract. Very good player, but is it not just a pimped up Phil Jones? Like, Phil Jones is always injured. I don't care how good he is, he's not worth it. And I think with Cavani, we pay a lot of money to Cavani and he's not been fit when we've needed him. And that's only going to get worse with age. So I think United, they might be frustrated with Cavani, but they should look at their own recruitment department. I think, again, this goes back to what we've been talking about for ages. Did Solskjaer want Cavani at the start of the summer? No, he didn't, because he could have got him. So this is not on Solskjaer. This is Solskjaer on the weekend before the transfer window closes. Ed Woodward or whoever goes to him and says, we've got nothing, but you can have Cavani. Do you want it? Well, I'm going to take it. You're going to take it. It's not what I wanted, but it's better than nothing. So I don't think Solskjaer has got any blame in the Cavani deal. I think this goes back to recruitment again. We had to do something desperate. It's not worked out. Being frustrated with the player is wrong, because if we'd done the homework, we would have known that he is going to get injured a lot. And that's what's happened. So I don't think you can be frustrated with Cavani. I really don't. Are we fortunate that Bruno has been an ever-present and not been out like other key players? I think we could have coped without him if he was. Salah, I think if Van der Beek had been fit and Pogba had been fit and we lost Bruno, we wouldn't have been okay. We would have been in a better situation. But if we lost Bruno now, we'd be screwed. Absolutely screwed. What would you do? No Pogba, no Van der Beek, no Bruno. We'd have to just park the bus. But we will sign another Cavani at centre-back, Gary on a free, so Steve Locke. We're talking about another Cavani. Ollie was asked about Eric Bailly in the press conference. His contract, it's not up in this summer, it's next summer. So he's got just over a year left on his contract. I don't know why he's being asked about this, considering we've let people like Herrera's contract run down to the last year, De Gea, Martial over the years. So why we'd be in a rush to give Eric Bailly a contract, I don't know. But Eric Bailly's in the same position as Jesse Lingard. His contract is up in a year. Ollie has said that we have spoken it to about him. Yes, he's staying fitter for longer now. I'm going to speak with the head and not with the heart. I like Eric Bailly. I just said I think our best centre-back partnership is Maguire and Bailly. But for me, if you're going to buy a top-class centre-back in the summer, why would you keep Eric Bailly? I don't think Eric Bailly should sit on anybody's bench. He's a first-team player, but unfortunately he's never fit enough to be that. I don't think Eric Bailly is going to get over his injury problems. I think he's going to be a player that plays half a season every season. I don't think we should be giving him a new contract. I know that's very controversial and I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I can only be honest on these things. I wouldn't give Cavani one because of his injury record, not because he's not a good player. And therefore I've got to be consistent and say I wouldn't give Eric Bailly a one. Eric Bailly's just played 100 games and he's been here 4 years. That's not many games a season. That's 25 games a season. Man United are playing north of 50 a season. So he's playing half. It's not good enough, is it? 100 games over 4 years. It's not good enough. And I don't know how many games Pogba's played over 4 years. Maybe someone can check that. But Pogba's had a few injuries, but he's played a lot more games than Bailly. So for me, it's Eric Bailly's got to go. Not because I like him. I really like him. I think he's our best centre-back, to be honest with you, with Harry Maguire. But I would let him go because if we go into next season thinking we can use Bailly, well, we haven't. And also, let's be honest, the most important thing here is not what I think about the injuries. It's also the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has consistently refused to play Bailly with Maguire. His favourite pair is Maguire and Lindelof. If we're buying a centre-back to play with Maguire, why keep Eric Bailly, who's below Lindelof? So I'd be sad to see Bailly go, but I think if we're keeping him, again, it's a lack of ambition. It's just keeping a player that we should move on. And again, it's a lack of ruthlessness in the team. Mark, with Bailly getting a new contract, do you think Ed might go for a subpar centre-back in the summer now? Also ditch Cavani and get Ollie's top striker priority after midfielder, though. Put pressure on the board. Fans, says Angie S. I spoke about it this morning, Angie. I'm a little bit concerned about what our plans are with the centre-back situation, because it could well be that we go for a Ben White, who is a subpar centre-back, and we just stick with Lindelof and Maguire. But no, Pogba's played 197 games. That's nearly double the games that Eric Bailly... I mean, that is right, isn't it? I'm sure Eric Bailly's just got to 100 games for Manchester United. That's shocking over 4 years when Pogba's played 197. And we know Pogba missed, 3 or 4 months last season. I think the last couple of years, Pogba's missed he's had a few injuries. So, yeah, he's still nearly played double the games better. It's a no from me. It's a definite no from me. I'm not giving a player a new contract like that. And also, are we ever going to learn? Like, we've just given Phil Jones a 5-year contract 18 months ago, and he's been injured for nearly all of it. You've got to learn from your mistakes. I know it's ruthless, but if you're going to give him a contract, just give him another year. Don't give him a 3 or 4 or 5-year contract. God, no. But I think that's another mistake, unfortunately, and it's harsh. It is harsh because Eric Bailly is a player I really like, but 100 games over 4 years, no, you can't. I don't think Pep's giving him a new contract. I don't think Klopp's giving him a new contract. We've got to start acting like a big club here. We've got to go and get a centre back that's quality and get rid of a couple of ones that aren't. I think, and also, can I just remind people of Axel Tuanzebe? I think Axel Tuanzebe is potentially better than Eric Bailly and doesn't get game time. We should be building our future around him. Tuanzebe, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire and a top-class centre-back. That's the 4 you need. Get rid of Jones, let Bailly go as well, and let's build. Let's build. Martial has missed more games than Cavani, says Troy Edwards. I don't even... help me. Help me. Help me, somebody, please. Troy has silenced me for the first time in 5 years. I don't even know what to say, Troy. I don't even know what to say. Martial's missed more games than Cavani this season. Okay. Pogba's probably missed more games than Cavani this season. What's your point? Anthony Martial's 25. Edison Cavani's 34, and we bought him injury prone 6 months ago. What's the comparison? I don't know what you mean, Troy. I don't even know where you're going with it. Sell Martial because Cavani's plays more games. I don't know what you mean, Troy. I don't know what you're trying to say. It's either a brilliant point or absolutely useless. I don't know. United with contacts are useless, absolutely useless. When they need to be ruthless, absolutely ruthless, says Uber Melon. Well, I tell you what, Uber Melon, I would say this. If we have restructured our recruitment and we have got a director of football now and we have got a technical director, the proof's going to be in the pudding, because if nothing has changed at this football club, we will give Eric Bailly a long-term contract. If something has changed at this football club this week, we won't. Will it be more of the same or won't it? Well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his press conference for AC Milan, when asked about the director of football, said nothing changes. It's the same it's always been with the same people. It's just consistency. So we'll see. I think we'll give him a new contract. Sell Martial and let Cavani go. We can do with Josh King, says Omkar. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was speaking about the game against West Ham as well. He says they've been brilliant this season, and it's going to be a very, very difficult game. Don't lose sight of that. It's a massive game. They can't play Jesse Lingard, which I think that makes them... If Jesse Lingard's playing for West Ham at the moment, they're so much a better side. But he can't play. So that is something that I think we need to all be happy about. But I think that we are in a situation whereby they will still give us a game, but I think they're going to play quite defensive in my opinion. So I think we'll be all right. But as I said, when you look at the league table, 6 points behind us, West Ham, and let's not forget, West Ham have got a game in hand over us. So it really does make it that little bit harder. this game. So we've got to be very, very careful about how we approach it, definitely. He also spoke about Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo obviously scored a great goal yesterday. I mean, I saw Solskjaer, what he said after the game, and really interesting about how he spoke about Bruno's pass, Ollie, because I agree with Ollie. I thought the pass from Bruno Fernandes was just world class, absolutely world class pass from him. But he said about Amad Diallo that it's a gradual process. He wasn't playing that many games for Atalanta, but he's been really hungry and spot on in training, which we know. I mentioned that before. Wouldn't surprise me, pay-as-you-play deal for Bay, says Steve Locke. I don't think he'd take that, mate. I don't think he would sign a pay-as-you-play deal because I think there's plenty of clubs that would take a punt on Eric Bay. Hi Mark, Pogba's a starter, but Bay isn't. Does that not make a difference reaching 100 games? Says Hey Stat. Yeah, it does. It does. But remember, he's been here for 4 years. And when we first bought him under Mourinho, he was a starter. He did start under Mourinho a lot. So he has been injured a lot. I think over the last 18 months, there's probably been times that he hasn't played. But David, there's nothing on there. So stop doing capital letters, David. There's nothing on Sky Sports. So shut up or tell us what it says, because there's nothing on there. Thoughts on signing Kessie for our CDM problems? Well, we won't sign Kessie. We're not going to sign Kessie. As I said, I thought he played very well last night. We were talking about Kessie on this show probably, I'll tell you when. We were talking about him a few years ago. I really like him, and this is the great thing about this channel. You can just search back and find things about players. 4 years ago, I've just typed in. If you type in United stand Kessie and go down to video, just go down a bit, you can find Ibrahimovic, Dembele, Kessie, Manchester United transfer news from 4 years ago. There's one from 3 years ago, Ericsson, Robban and Kessie. So we've been talking about Kessie on this channel as a community for a long time. And it just goes to show that these players are good players when we're talking about them, but I don't see us doing it. Give Jones pay-as-you-leave deal, says Rohan. Kessie's going to Chelsea in a swap deal with Tamori, says Sarintra. Well, I've heard, I don't know. I'm not a Chelsea fan. I don't know whether that's going to happen, but I think the exciting thing for me about Kessie last night, away from Man United, is that I do like him as a player. And it's always interesting to see what they do against Premier League opposition. And regardless of whether Kessie plays in the Premier League or not, I think last night he showed he can. He was up against a Premier League midfield and he was the best player on the pitch. So I think that Kessie would be a good signing for any Premier League club. And if Chelsea are going to get him, unfortunately, Chelsea is what Chelsea does. They're better than us in the transfer market. We don't need to deny that. Somebody just said, will Diallo start against West Ham United on Sunday? If Cavani is out and Martial is out and Rashford is out, he has to start. That is a scary front three, and not in a good way. It's not Neymar, Messi and Ronaldo. It's Greenwood, Dan James and Diallo. Now, I think Diallo's got very good potential, but he's 18. I think Greenwood has got great potential, but he's 19. And I think Dan James, I'm not going to say anything. But that front three, West Ham will look at that and think, Wim, it's men against boys. And that's what it is. I'm not saying they can't be successful. I think a lot of people will be quite excited by that. But it is men against boys. I mean, there's talk of us calling up Joe Hugel from the youth setup. He's got a great record. I don't think he's anywhere near ready to play first team men's football. So, but sometimes miracles can happen. I think there's huge responsibility on Bruno's shoulders, as per usual. He's going to have McFred behind him, and he's going to have three players in front of him that are very inexperienced at this level, and very inexperienced in the business end of a season. It's very different. It's very different picking Diallo, Greenwood, and Dan James against Watford in a third round FA Cup game at Old Trafford. This is West Ham, hungry for their best season in ages, trying to close us down at the business end of the season. So, but look, if those players are out injured, Martial, Rashford and Cavani, then we're going to have to play Diallo. My biggest fear is that, I can see it a mile off, we're going to play Marcus Rashford half fit. And then if he has a bad game, he gets a load of stick when actually he's just playing half fit to help us out. Don't know why we need Kessie. Feel out our midfield is stacked as it is. Would rather him get game time at another club, United, for example, says Ross Gunn. You just contradicted yourself, Ross. Don't know what you mean there. Arguing with someone who says there isn't a better centre-back than Maguire. On top of that, says Shaw, Martial and Pogba are crap. Seriously, help me, Mark. Dan, just end the call. If it's your wife, divorce them, kick them out onto the street. Not physically. I mean, just like, well, actually, let them have the house and walk out yourself. I think that's far more impactful. If it's your father, get adopted. If it's your best friend, get a new friend. If it's your milkman, kick his milk on the floor and give him a boot onto his milk float and send him on his way and say, you're giving up milk. Like, just don't get into conversations with these people at all. Ross trying to say he supports another club, but doesn't. Donny paying on United stand. I don't know what that means. God, we've got some. I tell you what, we've got some funny comments in today. Daniel Campbell says, I love the cooking video. Yeah, Cooking with Goldbridge is back. If you've never watched it, it's an absolute classic dish. It might not be a classic episode. A lot of people have enjoyed it though. I have put the link in the video description for you. Check it out. Goldbridge cooks a full English breakfast. You might call it a cooked breakfast where you are. We just call it a full English. But yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a classic, so give it a try. I can't believe somebody would say that Maguire is brilliant and Shaw, Pogba and Martial are shit. Do you think McFred plus Matic would start for AC Milan? No. I think we saw that last night. Juan Mata's injured. Yeah, check it out, Cooking with Goldbridge. I mean, I saw some Talk Sport Prat this morning talking about Martial doesn't look interesting, get rid of him. And I'm like, if you just woke up from a coma, I can't remember who it was, and they said just woke up from a coma. Yeah, I've just had a lovely Indian curry, and I wanted to go in on Anthony Martial. I mean, have you woke up from a coma? Because you're about 2 or 3 weeks too late. Talking about Anthony Martial's attitude now is ridiculous. His attitude against Man City was superb, and yesterday he did what he could in 45 minutes and went off injured. Like, they're just and people. I'm not going down the goalkeeper route again, but people say to me, why are you always going on about the British media being biased? And I'm like, well, because they keep giving evidence of it all the time, every single day. We've got a story about Martial having a bad attitude and being lazy again. What the fuck? Like, he literally went off injured at half time and did everything he could in the first half. Admittedly, he didn't have a good game, but it wasn't through lack of effort. And against Man City, he was superb. So, Ben White or Tyrone Mings, says Chase Vickers, nothing. I'd rather have nothing. Yeah, I'd rather have nothing. It's like when you're a kid and your parents say you're not having a McDonald's, but you can have fish fingers and chips, or you can have sausage and chips when you get home. I want nothing. Well, I don't want anything. If I'm not having McDonald's, I don't want it. Remember, you can make super chats by clicking, says Ihab. English media is so biased, says Falcon. And serious question, you back Ollie when he keeps benching Van der Beek. How can any manager bench Van der Beek? Well, he is injured, Abdul, and he has been injured for a very long time. And I think in relation to Van der Beek, it's very disappointing that he's been injured for this 3 weeks. Some people think there's a conspiracy theory. I don't know. I don't think there is. I think he actually is injured, because even if Ollie doesn't like him, he would have to have used him over the last few weeks. So he's got to be injured. But what a time for Van der Beek to get injured. I think he's been criminally underused this season. But the one time where Pogba's injured and he would have got game time, and he's injured himself. So I don't think you can criticise Ollie at the moment for his lack of use in relation to Van der Beek, because he's injured. AD, you can go as well. Bye-bye. You said Kevin De Bruyne pass versus West Ham was average, but Bruno's pass was superb. If somebody wants to help out Sal Peldino, trying to compare Bruno's pass to Kevin De Bruyne's cross, I mean, some people just won't know football, will they? If you know football, it is unbelievably hard to hit a straight pass onto somebody's head than it is to cross, because it's about angles. Go and do GCSE maths. Bruno is hitting a ball straight towards the goal that he's got to land between the centre-back, who is tall, and the goalkeeper, who is tall, onto the head of Amad Diallo, who is small. It's a straight hit. It's about gravity. It's about length. it's not a cross. De Bruyne is a cross. He's putting a cross in. A cross is naturally not going towards the goalkeeper, and he's also in an area that is a cross has got an angle on it, so there's a bigger area to hit. Bruno's pass is pinpoint straight. I don't care. It's not about De Bruyne. De Bruyne is a better player than Bruno. I've always said that. He is. He's proven that. But I think Bruno's having a better season than De Bruyne. And if you're talking to me about the cross that De Bruyne put in compared to that ball from Bruno last night, I'm sorry. Some people understand football and some people don't. There is no comparison at all. Sabino now says he's joking, you little prats. He's trolled me. Anyway, fair play. You know how to pull my strings. There is a career mode in an hour, Mass. It will be live on Mark Godbridge. That's football. What do you think about Pulisic to United, says Ikra? I do like Pulisic. I would take him at Manchester United. I just don't think that we can do that. Kareem says, is there any update on Pogba coming back? No. There's no update on Pogba or Donny. He basically said that they might be back before the international break, but if not, they'll be back after the international break, but not for Sunday. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I tell you what, I'll be massively disappointed if Paul Pogba goes with French international duty and Donny van de Beek goes Dutch international duty, because they've missed massive weeks for us. And to get back fit for those international breaks would be really disappointing. And a club that's ruthless wouldn't let them go, but we'll see what happens. Because most international teams are playing 3 games in 2 weeks as well. So we miss out on Pogba and Van der Beek for key weeks, and then they go away with their international team, play 3 games in 2 weeks, and then we get them back probably tired. Great. Although the advantage is they might get some match fitness as well. What would you think if we signed Declan Rice and a centre-back without a right winger? I'd be over the moon, DRFC. I'd be over the moon. I don't think there's much problems with our front four. I don't. We've scored a lot of goals this season. I think we'll score more goals with a higher defensive line and a CDM. And funnily enough, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked about the defensive line because somebody said that they heard Dean Henderson telling Eric Bailly to push the line up higher yesterday. Ole said, we want to press higher, but we don't get much time to train in between games, so we're having to do things slowly. I mean, lovely honest answer from Ollie. I love the honesty, but why is this not a principle of Manchester United in pre-season? Why are we learning to push higher during the season? You know what I mean? Like, he sort of walked into the trap there, and not a lot of people will pick it out, but he was asked about the defensive line and he said, we don't have a lot of time in between games to change things, so we're trying to do things gradually. Is that not an admission that we went into the season with the intent of playing a deep defensive line? If we're trying to play higher, but we haven't got the time to train to do it, well, you've just walked into the trap that we went into the season playing a deep defensive line then. Why are we playing a deep defensive line? Because it's Maguire and Lindelof and it's McFred. And everybody knows this, and the manager's just admitted it. So I think he wants to play higher, and I think with Eric Bailly, he knows he can do that. But the team, I think, will naturally move into the groove of what it is. We know that with Maguire and Lindelof, it's a deep defensive line, shielded by McFred with fullbacks tucking in. That's what we've done for most of the season. Obviously, Ollie wants to move away from that. He wants to press higher, which means your defensive line needs to go higher. But it does naturally go a little bit higher with Bailly and Maguire anyway. We didn't have a pre-season, says Sankit. Mate, what I'm talking... Did we or not have 2 or 3 weeks before the season started? Do you think they sat down playing Kaplunk? Like, Ollie can't do tactical things at the moment because we're playing day of rest, little bit of conditioning, and then we play again. You can't really work on set plays and everything like that there. But you can. We've definitely had time before the season to sort out what the formation was and how we were going to play. Also, I would say this. Is it not time that Man United did something with their defensive coaching setup? How many goals are we conceding from corners still? This has been a constant all season. And zonal marking again last night. It was zonal marking again. Matic let the man go. He came into McTominay's area and he didn't react. A lot of people said, why are you blaming Matic and McTominay? I probably should have shouted out, zonal marking! It's bloody zonal marking again, the bunch of prats. It was zonal marking again last night. We've conceded so many goals from set pieces, whether it's not reacting to the first ball or losing the first ball. And the goal last night, he starts off in Matic's zone, he moves into McTominay's zone, McTominay doesn't react, Matic doesn't go with him because it's zonal marking, and you end up with a free header in your own penalty box in stoppage time. I mean, I don't think enough's been spoken about that, by the way. From a tactical point of view, that's criminal. Everyone's talking about Dean Henderson and he should have saved it. He should have done, really. But imagine if that free header, he'd put it in the top corner. Henderson can't save that. So I think that's a really good point, actually. Dean Henderson should have saved it, but he had a free header. What if he'd headed it into the top corner? Like, nobody's saving that. And we would be talking about the key issue. Why is he having a free header? Because he should score from a free header from that area anyway. Yeah, Henderson should have saved it because of where he headed it, but actually he should have scored. He should score that anyway. He probably heads it badly because he heads it at the keeper, and then the keeper makes the mistake. But the point is, it's zonal marking again for the umpteenth time this season. We've conceded from a set piece, and it's zonal marking that's cost us, because you should not be giving away free. St. Maximin a couple of weeks ago, free shot in our penalty box. Rodriguez not that long ago, free shot in our penalty box. And that header, free header from 6 yards out in our penalty box, because people are stood there with cement in their heels, not moving. Tactically, really, really, really poor. And at that level, it's a weakness. And as we know, West Ham are good in the air. And it's poor as well because Matic is tall and McTominay is tall. And if you tell them to mark a player, go with the player. But no, we got a zonal mark. And we've got to work on that. It was a free header, says Angus. And the coaching needs to be better defensively. But that's not on Ollie. Ollie doesn't do the defensive shape. His coaches do. Right, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Rio, Beckham, Keane or Nisseroy in today's team. I'll take them all, Carl. And also do check out Cooking with Goldbridge. I'm live in an hour anyway. I'm playing FIFA on Mark Goldbridge, that's football. But if you want to check something else out and you've never seen it before, do check out Cooking with Goldbridge. The link is in the video description. I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks for watching.